So the next event, the women's 4x100 meters relay, the 3 heats, of course. Ghana coming out first. They haven't qualified for Tokyo. Neither have the Czech Republic. Italy, very excited. They were 7th in the World Championships in 2019, so they have indeed qualified. Japan coming out, as well as Brazil, who are in line for a place in Tokyo. They're 11th ranked. Achiampong will be the lead-off athlete. Chema Achiampong for Ghana. Latifa Ali, Yanit Mponsa, and Haluti Hor. They're a quartet. I love that strip that the Ghanaians are wearing, Jenny.
Colourful, isn't it?
Oh.
So the same principle applies for this one. It's the first 2 automatic qualifiers from each heat, and then the next 2 fastest from the 3 heats.
Japan will be in lane 6. Hanai Aoyama, their lead-off athlete. We'll pass over to Kodama Saito in Suruta. Back in 2019 in Yokohama, USA were the winners, taking the win from Canada and Kenya. USA announcing their inability to appear at these relays quite a few weeks back. To Canada just a couple of weeks ago. It's perfectly understandable under the circumstances that prevail. And we focus upon the teams that are here. Italy, well, finalists in Doha. They're a lead-off athlete, Ioannelis Herrera Abreu.
Seen some great images here, the preparation that goes into this. A lot of these athletes will meet up regularly for national sprint squads. You can just see that they put a marker down. So everybody has different markers that they choose to do. They have to get used to the incoming speed of the runner who they're going to receive the baton from. Very nervous moments for a lot of them, and a lot of nations have a lot of technicians working with them. They'll be studying the footage. They'll be sometimes grabbing their own footage, sometimes going off these photos or these images. And then they'll go back to the practice track, have a look at it. They'll certainly do that overnight, make some final adjustments and preparations. And of course, it has been a little bit more difficult for a lot of the athletes to meet up to practice those technical skills. But they're all coming here, of course, hoping to put on a good show.
So the Czech Republic, Joanna Kajsarova, Kodama for Japan. It's on the second leg. So Brazil go on the outside. Their quartet, Lemos, Rosa, Azevedo. Ayama, Kodama, Saito, Suruta. Japan in lane 6. And of course, 4x100 meter racing, relay racing, while it leaves far less room for error than 4x400 meters, as we see the Italians, Herrera Abreu, on the opening leg for them. It does give teams without quite the same speed in the 4 individual runners a chance of qualifying simply by slick baton changing. The technical aspects of getting that baton changing right raise in significance. Czech Republic, we saw just then, Joanna Kajsarova on the opening leg for them, and Ghana with their lead-off athlete, Chema Achiampong. 2 years ago, it was actually USA from Jamaica and Germany with the first 3 teams, with Brazil in 4th. and Italy and Australia in 5th and 6th. Fastest time in the world this year, 42.70 by an American university squad. But anything down there around 43.5, high 43s is very, very quick indeed. Ghana in 3, Czech Republic 4, Italy 5, Japan 6, Brazil in 7. The first 2 go through by right. Good running from the Japanese Oyama, second to right. Now the changeover is so critical. Looks smooth from the Japanese. Brazilians are good relay runners too. Also going well, the Italian centre of picture in blue, the second leg runner for them, Gloria Hooper. That long second leg, so important. The Italians leading at the moment. Goodness me. Certainly the Czech Republic have got a lot of work to do back in lane 4 as the Italians, oh, the poor change-up from the Italians there. They lost 2 or 3 metres on the Brazilians, and that was that was the victory gone as the Brazilians bring it home now. Rosangela Santos taking it there from Italy and Japan. Terrible changeover there from the Italians. They had it in the bag, so to speak. Changeovers have to be right. It's like you can lose a sprint race with a poor start. You can lose a 4x100 meter relay with one poor changeover. And the baton speed of the Brazilians was superb. It roared past the Italians a couple of lanes inside them.
It was an interesting race, wasn't it? The first runner, the lead-off runner from Japan, was out of the blocks, and they were leading actually after that first leg. But it all changed on the third leg, of course, with the Italians showing the dominance. But exactly how you called it prior to the race, Tim, you know, it is about slick back and changes, not always, you know, necessarily the speed of the athletes on the 4 legs. And a great time, 43.56 seconds from the Brazilians. If Italy can sort that out tomorrow, they look like they can vastly improve, of course. And we're just going to take a look at Japan, 44.17 seconds. So that's the fastest time so far. That's not qualified automatically. Here we go. This is the second change. This is from leg 2 to leg 3. See, the Japanese changeover wasn't quite as slick as the first one. And this is what we're going to focus on. This is the Italians' 4th leg runner. Just has to have another look, doesn't she? It's great if you can just actually shout your incoming runner. Tells you, you know, you don't have to actually have a visual change like you do in the rest of the relays, but just had to have a little bit of a look. She couldn't quite feel the baton in her hand, and yeah, that cost the victory there.
It looked like a momentary delay, didn't it? The split-second delay, but actually, with the Brazilians maintaining the momentum, it actually cost them probably 3 or 4 yards. Huge margin in sprinting terms. Well, there's confirmation that Brazil and Italy do go through despite that poor change. The Italians making it through okay. Japan 44.17, only a metre or so off it. We'll have to wait and see if they go through with that. 2 more heats to come. Ghana and the Czech Republic some little way back. So the athletes out for this second heat of 3 in the women's 4x100 metres relay. Then Poland coming out, ranked 16th for Tokyo, right on the cusp. Ireland in 24th place, way off the Tokyo place at the moment. Ecuador, the Netherlands, what a squad they have got. More of that in a minute. And Zambia bringing up the rear. They will be in lane 7. So Brazil and Italy, the 2 teams through from the first heat. Japan's time in 3rd place, 44.17. Indeed, 4th place Ghana, 44.85, though I fear that will be a little way outside what is likely to get a non-automatic qualifying spot. Daphne Slippers. Well, she's the 2nd or the 3rd fastest athlete in history over 200 metres. I think the 2nd fastest in history over 200 metres. former world champion skippers. He's had a fair share of injuries these last couple of years, but it is nonetheless a very strong quartet that the Dutch are putting out. Skippers on the second leg, the long back straight leg, which I know that might sound a bit strange, but they talk about the back straight leg being the longest because you can take the baton early going into that first bend at the changeover, and or coming out of the first bend, I should say, and then hand over late going into the second bend, and actually you can maximize the power and speed of a really strong 200-meter run up, for example, down the back straight, and in effect give them about a 120-meter leg to run, which is quite some advantage if it's done well. Skippers will receive that baton, we hope, from Jamila Samuel, and will pass on to Nadine Visser and Margie van Hoenenstein. Ecuador, Angela Gabriela Tenorio. Their lead of athlete will hand over to Suarez, then Villalba and Landazuri. Ecuador in 40th place on the world rankings. Just to reiterate that the top 8 teams in the world rankings have guaranteed their spots by dint of making the final in Doha 2019. Then the next 8 teams are in likely spots to make the Tokyo Games, but they can be shunted out of the top 16 and lose a Tokyo slot this weekend. Poland, 16th for Tokyo. They are very much in need of a quick time this weekend. First of all, they need to make the final with Marika Popovic-Trapala on the opening leg for them. It's cold now, Jenny. It's a cool evening. You were talking before we came on air about maybe putting some gloves on. This is far from ideal conditions for sprinters. Yeah,
I was watching Maslak before. I think I mentioned it, the 4x4. He was actually blowing on his hands, and yeah, it won't be too bad for the athletes. Of course, they've managed to warm up and they've gone through the preparations. Just us, Tim, isn't it, sat here? But yeah, this is a fascinating heat of this women's 4x100 metres. Only well, I was going to say only the Netherlands. In fact, it's quite surprising. The Netherlands have not yet qualified for Tokyo. They sit in 9th position. So, of course, getting to this final would guarantee that. Being in 9th position, you would actually think they're not going to drop out of the top 16. But, yeah, really looking forward to seeing what Ireland can do as well. They've had some really good indoor performances. We're looking at Molly Scott here. She was the lead-off runner back in 2018 when the Irish team won a silver in the World Juniors. I'm sure all people in Ireland and Irish athletics celebrated that one.
Well, there's Poland's Guzowska handing over to Adamek, Sokolska and Skrzydowska. Hardly a breath of wind in the stadium. It is sheltered because of the bowl, and it's a deep stadium too, with all the stands covered from above. So heat 2 then. Poland on the inside really need a strong run here. They'll be chasing that Irish quartet. Molly Scott for Ireland has gone off well, chasing the Tenorio of Ecuador in the blue in the centre there. But the Irish have lost a little bit of ground. Not a great change over there from the Poles. Leading at the moment of the Dutch quartet, as you would expect. Skippers down the back straight. Eases into the bend and hands over to Visser. That's a nice changeover. Visser's roars. Skipper roars Visser on her way. Ecuador inside them are going well. Not a bad changer from Ecuador, but Poland on the inside have really used that stagger well. And down the home straight, it's the Netherlands from Poland. Ecuador in 3rd place, Ireland in 4th. 43.29 there. by the Netherlands at the third fastest time in the world this year. It looked pretty slick, and I don't think there was a great deal of holding back there. Skippers ran a superb leg and had a great changeover to Visser. And Marie van Hunenstein doing all that was needed to carry the baton home safely there. Already qualified for Tokyo, for all intents and purposes, Netherlands, and that's a very comfortable win indeed. Well, I suspect there's been a lot of frustration from Daphne Skippers this last couple of years, Jenny. You know, she's suffered a lot of injuries after 3 or 4 years of quite superb sprinting over 100 and 200 metres, taking global medals and indeed a world 200-metre title. And tonight, well, she's looking fit and strong and clearly delighted to be back, and the emotion there was almost palpable from Visser as she completed that third leg and handed over here to Nadine Visser. There she is in orange. Look at Skippers here, yelling, screaming Visser on her way. They had a comfortable lead.
They did. There was no weak link in that team at all, was there? All 4 of these athletes have got medals at major championships, whether individual or in the relay, and a well-drilled team. Oh, you see the Polish athlete there really closing her down, but 43.28 seconds. That was faster than the Brazilians registered in the first one.
That was a fabulous leg from the Polish final leg athlete there. Boy. So heat 2 then, won by the Netherlands. Poland were closing, but about 0.36 of a seconds that down. Ecuador in third place, setting a national record, 43.86, and that is a clear indication this is a fast surface, because conditions aren't ideal tonight. It's cool, there's not much breeze, but it's how the sprinters love a bit of sun on their back and warm conditions. Ireland 44.53. Well, we're just hearing that there's bad news for a team from Heat 1 when Brazil, we thought, had taken the win. Now watch this runner, left a picture there, that foot on the line, I'm afraid, and another one from the outgoing final leg runner for Brazil, Santos, right on the line, and that wasn't necessary. They were in the lead. That is such a shame. So let's have a look at the adjusted result. Brazil disqualified. Very, very sad news for the South American quartet. Italy then the winners, and Japan promoted to a qualifying spot for the final. Ghana in third and Czech Republic in fourth. And so to Heat 3, Spain, Denmark, Switzerland and France. Just 4 teams in this one. Switzerland, well, they are wonderful carriers of the baton. 4th at the World Championships in 2019 to secure their spot for Tokyo, so no pressure on their quartet here tonight. There's Ricarda Dicha. She will hand over to Salome Cora, Cornelia Halbier and Cynthia Reinler. That Swiss quartet with the best of 42.18 are very classy indeed. Italy, remember, winning that first heat after Brazil's disqualification in 44.02 from Japan's 44.17. The Netherlands winning the second heat, 43.28 from Poland's 43.64. And at the moment, the teams in 7th and 8th places, Zambia and Ghana on 44.81 and 44.85. Those are vulnerable times, Jenny.
They are, and you know, I've got to go back to that run by the Ecuadorian team. You said beforehand they were ranked 40th, and they could well have got themselves into a final position for Tokyo. A national record, 43.86 seconds. I don't think any of us would have expected that before, but I actually watched the faces beforehand, and they looked like they were here to do some serious business. They must have known something, and the rest of the world didn't know. And yeah, I'm sure in third position they're going to qualify for that final, but let's see.
Well, it was a national record by 2 100ths of a second, but who cares? It's a national record. 1 100th would do. Kramer be the lead-off athlete for the Danes. They're ranked 20th in the world. They need a great run here. She'll hand over to Astrid Glena Fransen, Mette Gravesgaard and Ida Karsdorft. There's Gravesgaard, I should say, on the third leg. And Spain, well, Maria Isabel Perez, Estela Garcia, Paula Sevilla, and Cristina Lara as Sevilla. She on the third leg, practicing her run out of the changeover zone. 20-meter changeover zones for the athletes. The baton has to be transferred within that zone. So obviously the athlete receiving the baton just inside that yellow line has 20 meters in which to accelerate, timing that acceleration perfectly for the incoming athlete to reach them and pass over the baton smoothly. And so often you see athletes head off too early, accelerate away, and the incoming tiring athlete can't reach them. Or conversely, they go off too late and the incoming athlete almost runs into the back of them, and there's a huge slowing of the baton speed. France then go on the outside in this third and final heat, the women's 4x100 meters relay. Orlan Ombisa Zongu on the first leg for them. We'll hand over to Leduc, Paré and Richard Menga. Switzerland with Ricarda Dietscher, then Cora, Halbeer and Reiner, their quartet. See how well drilled they will be. Let's watch their baton changeovers carefully in the red there. Second from the outside. Denmark. Well, there's the shy retiring Mathilde Kramer. Looking forward to heading out of the blocks and handing over to her teammate Glena Fransen. They are ranked 20th in the world at the moment. Denmark, not yet in sight of a Tokyo spot. And Spain, 21st. So on paper, closely ranked with Denmark. So Netherlands, Poland, Italy and Japan guaranteed spots in the final at the moment. Ecuador most certainly, with that national record. They are the third fastest of the teams from the two heats we've seen so far, even though they finished third in heat 2. They're faster than Italy and Japan, who were first and second in heat 1. Spain in 3, Denmark in 4, Switzerland in 5, France in lane 6. Nobody really showing at the moment. The echelon hasn't changed at the first changeover very much indeed. The Spanish outgoing athlete went off far too early, and I think that might have been a questionable changeover for the Spanish. To the right of picture there, dear oh dear. Now watch the Swiss, second to right in the red. Good changeover for them, chasing the French hard. The French are pretty useful. Marussia Paré on this third leg for France. The Swiss have got a bit of catching to do. She didn't go off really early enough, Minga of France, and the Swiss made up a meter or so, but she's coming back at them. Reiner of Switzerland chasing hard, but the French are going to take this. Coming through strongly, take third place is Denmark. They're about 3 meters behind the Swiss, and Spain in fourth place. Well, France taking it in 33.04 from Switzerland. In fact, just checking, excuse me, 43.51 for France. That would have been second in the first heat. Would have been good enough to win the first heat. But France and Switzerland definitely go through. Denmark in third with 44.25. And Denmark with that run do ease into the top 8, Jenny.
Yeah, it looks like Ecuador will take a position in the final, and so will Denmark. So 44.25 for third place is enough for the Danish squad. I'm sure they're delighted.
the automatic qualifiers. Netherlands, France, Poland, Switzerland, and then Italy and Japan. Ecuador, one of the non-automatic qualifiers, along with Denmark. Spain were the 9th fastest team. They just miss out by, well, 13/100ths of a second, with Ireland the 10th fastest. Let's have a look at that Spanish changeover in that third heat. The changeover between leg 1 and leg 2. Look at the bottom of picture. And it's right on that outgoing zone line. I don't know if they'll get the benefit of the doubt from the judges, but it's academic actually in a way. Spain were 9th fastest and didn't quite make it through to the final, whatever outcome the judges decide. Good final leg there from the French last leg runner, Zara Richard Mingat. Although certainly Reindler of Switzerland was closing, chasing really hard.
Well, it's amazing what technology we've got at this moment. Things changing all the time, of course, in the sport, but we can see some of the splits for the last 100 meters, and some of these women are running, well, all of them are running below 11 seconds. Of course, they've got the benefit of momentum from starting off on that exchange, but the French athlete 10.47 was the fastest on that last 100-meter leg.
Shows what a difference a rolling start can make, doesn't it? You know, if you're going through the start of your 100 meters in effect from that changeover zone virtually flat out, it's well, you're making up what, 7, 8, 9 meters perhaps on somebody who would have been coming out of blocks.
Yeah, probably almost a second. So yeah, maybe 8 tenths or so. But yeah, it actually benefits those people, maybe 200-meter athletes who need a little bit more time to get up to their acceleration. But yeah, we can see the Danish are delighted there.
Well, rightly so. Ecuador, the stars of that particular qualifying series of races, with their national record, 5th fastest of the all the teams there, 14 teams. The Brazilians very sadly disqualified after winning that first heat. So frustrating for them. But you have to hang together. France, Switzerland and Denmark, with Denmark qualifying with that small queue as a non-automatic qualifier. Spain weren't disqualified, but they were in 4th place and unfortunately unable to make the final. A little way back in that third heat. Let's have a look at some Danish celebrations. Bringing home the bacon, that's what the ladies did tonight. Look.
And that's what we live for. That's what we want to see. I was actually watching them from the commentary position. I was looking down onto the track, and there's a big results board here, and the big queue came up for the first 2 teams who qualified automatically, and they were, I think they must have been looking and thinking, where's the small queue? Where's the small queue? And that was the reaction once they saw it.
Those are the 8 teams that have qualified for the final. Netherlands, France, Poland and Switzerland by right. Ecuador with that national record going through as a non-automatic qualifier, as did Denmark. We saw that celebration. Italy and Japan go through as well. Japan, one of the beneficiary of Brazil's sad disqualification from the first heat. They were originally in 3rd with